This is eshrink, Dr. Soni, also known as the eshrink, but not answering to Southside Johnny. Also, one of the proprietors, Interpersonal Psychiatry in LFK. And the LFK stands for the Lawrence F. Kansas. Yeah, it's popular in Lawrence.
It sounds like it's like Lawrence F. Kansas is a name like Fitzgerald.
Lawrence, no, it's not Fitzgerald.
No.
Yeah, I could see that, Lawrence Fitzgerald, Kansas,
Yeah.
you know. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am a licensed psychiatrist, slightly different than a psychologist, although I don't mind, you can call me that. I went to medical school much later in my life. Prior to going to med school, I was an engineer, and I was an environmental engineer, and I worked for the EPA, then I worked for the state government for a number of years. Found that life very dull and very boring, and I was very depressed, and I went to see a psychiatrist, and she helped me put my life back together again. And then it's like, well, what do you want to do with your life? And it's like, hey, I want to be like you. I want to help people. And that is why I went to med school and I became a psychiatrist. I finished my residency in 2013. I did not want to get a job. At some point in your life, you know you're too old to get a roommate. And the same way, some point in your life, you know you're too old to get a job. We started about 5 years ago. We started with 3 patients. Today we have about 5,000 patients. We have 5 clinicians. We offer all kinds of treatments here. I don't know if you have noticed in like the last 3 months, there is always people starting emails in these uncertain times. And it's like, dude, would you please stop selling me stuff in this uncertain time? So we are not selling anything. We simply want you to have information and have fun while you're doing it. We would also invite you to send an email. We will try to answer your questions. We will try not to answer like a specific medical advice. Like, my doctor gave me this pill, should I increase it? It's like, well, ask your doctor. So we are not trying to replace your doctor. We just want you to learn a lot about your body and the mental health and the thought processes. The more educated you are, the better question you'll be able to ask your doctor. I will be not diagnosing you with anything. I will be not telling you what meds to take or what's not to take. So that's not the kind of question we are inviting. So, but send in any question you have, and we will go through them, and we will answer most of them. So that's what we are going to do. And joining me today is, so I didn't want to be like the weirdo sitting in the basement, just talking, you know, to the mic. I wanted to have a conversation, so I have invited Hiten Soni. Yes, he is my son. You know, get it, Hiten Soni, Hiten Soni. Yeah. I'm just gonna put you on the spot. Well, you knew that was coming.
All right, what's up? What's good?
Okay, so I was gonna put you on the spot
Sure.
say, go ahead and ask me some mental health related questions.
What are some things people can do to aid their mental health if they're feeling depressed and stuff, if they don't have the money or opportunity to see a clinician?
Very good question. Very good question. So I would say borrow money from your parents. No, I'm kidding. That's what you do. No, let us be serious. You ask a good question. So let's first come to the separation. The volume's been written about this, and you know that we make a separation between the biology or the brain versus the mind. Okay, and we're not going to go into the philosophy between the brain and the mind. So we are just going to say that 2 things are different. Okay, the brain and the mind. So think of the mind as like a software. The brain is more like a hardware. And the biology, the meat and the circuits and all that thing, that's the brain, and the software part, our emotions, how we feel, all that, we then call it mind. But as you could realize that the computer then would have to have both components to be functional. So what we would then say that since mind resides in the vessel of the brain, then it would make sense that in order to have a healthy mind, you must have then
healthy brain. Okay.
Healthy brain.
Okay.
So a computer that is not quite functioning hardware-wise is not going to do so well, no matter how amazing the most latest version of the software you have. And similarly, the other way around, a perfectly functioning hardware will do very poorly if there wasn't an appropriate operating system. So the first part is always the biology, because without the vessel, there is no mind.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So we would do everything possible to make the biological processes of your brain better.
Okay.
So that is the first thing that anybody should do. And to that aspect, I would say, well, let's eat well.
Sure.
Let's sleep regularly.
Okay.
Let's be careful about what chemicals we put into our brain, what chemicals we put in our body, ultimately in our brain. If you are taking any chemicals, let's say simple chemicals, coffee, I have to admit I can't do without it.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So first thing in the morning, then I would want a coffee, and if the dog wants me to pet her, it's like, no, go get my coffee. Now the dog doesn't do well with the coffee, so I wait. But without that, the quality of my interactions with my loved ones are not as good.
Sure.
So some people may have a habit of smoking cigarette, and without the first cigarette, they're not quite functional, not quite happy. So what we would say, let's be careful about what chemicals we put in our body, how we are feeling about those chemicals, and things like that. And then it's not that I'm a crabby person in the morning, but without my coffee, I'm not very personable.
Sure.
Okay, so that is why I don't see people at 8 o'clock in the morning anymore, because I want that caffeine to kick in.
Sure.
So I want us to be aware of how these chemicals that we put in our body and how they affect us. So if you're drinking so much soda, so much energy drink, all those different things that influence. So if you are not able to do anything else right now, because you don't have a job, you don't have insurance, we could do simple things like wake up at the same time, go to bed, have a formal structure, we exercise, we eat healthy, we reduce the amount of sugar, the coffee, or whatever that is entering. Even if you can't reduce it, you become aware of how it's affecting you.
Sure. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's what I would say we would do first.
Okay.
If I'm trying to learn to swim, which I still am because I can't swim. Now, if you were going to teach me, and I think you have tried a few times.
Sure.
You would recommend, hey dude, don't have a backpack on your back with a 50-pound plates in it. So what is the 50-pound dumbbell on my backpack is doing to me when I'm trying to learn to swim?
It's bringing you down.
Bringing me down.
Yeah.
Very good. So you would recommend not have any weight.
Okay.
Okay. Similarly, I would say if you are depressed, something that is bringing you down, let us not have that while you're trying to swim.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So you become aware that if I drink 6 packs every day, what is it doing to me? And from everything that we know that the alcohol is a very, very good depressant.
Right.
Okay? So if you want to be not depressed, Well, avoid alcohol for a while.
Sure.
I'm not saying you could never drink again. I'm saying
It's not helping.
it's not helpful like the 50-pound dumbbell
Right.
isn't really helping me. But so those are the kind of things that we would want to talk about in this time.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the small one, right? So we're talking about sleeping, we're talking about eating, right? What is the main? What is one you can pick that you do? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Sleep then is going to be the number one.
Sleep is okay.
During the night time, when you are getting a restful sleep, the brain is not inactive. In fact, it is most active when you are sleeping. And what the brain is trying to do during the evening hours when you are actually sleeping is to make small repairs, replenish the resources that were used up, such things as the neurotransmitters that were used and all that. It's often remodeled, replenished at night. Your brain is actively pruning and removing unnecessary things and consolidating memories. Okay, so the number one thing that you could, if you could do nothing else, then do one thing, and that is to get good night's sleep.
Okay. What is a good night's sleep then? What is a
Very
night's
good
sleep
question. Very good question. A good night's sleep then is various for various people.
Okay.
So let's talk about it. Now, I don't know if you remember when you were 14, 15, 17.
None of them. It's all
I
online.
do. I have tapes.
Blackout.
No, I have tapes. We can go through that. But during the teenage years, then you know that your brain is night owl.
Okay, sure.
So that you can recall, and most young people can recall that during the night they are more creative. Go to sleep, and it's like, well, I'm not tired. It's like, go to sleep, turn up the light, and that's the battle that we had.
Yes, sure.
But I didn't know it at that time. But later I learned that at that age, everybody's night owl.
Interesting.
And so therefore, you know that your sleep cycle is very different when you are a teenager.
Okay.
Well, let's go even further out and say, look at a baby. The baby's sleep cycle is very different. She may sleep 18, 19, 20 hours. Okay? And it's all fragment, and you're just awake for some of the time. Most of the time the baby is sleeping, during which time the brain is actually growing, pruning, repairing, and mostly growing. There is not much repair. As you get slightly older, the cycle changes, the amount of hours that you spend in sleep shrinks, then you are eventually able to stay up all day. So 3 or 4 year old, they want a nap. Okay.
Right.
Then as you are in the first or second grade, you could do without the nap. But then they're still, in the teenage years, you become a night owl. Now, at the same time, you don't want to get up at 8 o'clock. And I'll be waking you up midnight, get up, and you're like, I'm tired. It's like, it's morning, how are you tired? You're not tired, you're sleepy.
Right.
Okay? Because your brain is not quite ready to face the sun, your brain is not ready to face the world. If it was up to me, and it's not, it's never been up to me.
Sure.
And you won't bring your mother into this. But it's not up to me, and if it was, I would say, start all school at 10 a.m.
Sure.
Not at 8.
Yeah.
And it's even better to start at noon, because that is when the teenage brain is most awake. So until you are 17, 18, you want to be a night owl. Then you go to college, and the lifestyle promotes even further that you stay up
Staying
and
up all night,
sleep.
sleeping all day.
Right.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you get a job and you discover what a FICA is on your tax. And then there is a rent.
Sure.
And all of a sudden the society is now expecting you to conform to the 8 to 5 schedule.
Right.
And often it is difficult at first, but then you get to the 8 to 5 schedule. And I don't know if you remember my dad, your grandfather. he would be ready to go to bed at 6 p.m.
Sure. Yes.
He would take a nap till midnight. He would get up at midnight and then go to the doctor's office the following day and say, I haven't slept in 3 months. I was like, no, Dad, you've been sleeping from 6 to midnight, 6 hours. That's all you're going to get at that age.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So, I don't know if you remember, we got him to stay up late, and then he would sleep till 6, from midnight to 6, as opposed to 6 p.m. to midnight. He stays up till midnight, he sleeps till 6, and he feels
Way better.
amazing.
Right.
He goes, oh, I slept after a month. 3 months I didn't sleep.
Well, then how do you figure out that right time frame for you to be sleeping?
Excellent. The right times, what is the right time for you is to listen to your body.
Okay.
Okay? So we know that as you get older, you will be sleeping earlier and earlier and earlier and then getting up earlier.
Okay.
Okay? You also want to pay attention to say how much you are sleeping. So if you are sleepy all day and you're tired all day, that tells you that you're not getting enough sleep.
Mm-hmm.
There is such a thing as too much sleep, and again, then you are again feeling tired. So listening to your body, see what your functioning is, and working with that.
Mm.
And we are going to a commercial break. Buy our sponsors' product. They're very fine products. So, listen, boys and girls out there.
Yes.
We don't have a puzzle today.
Well,
But
I got a great one.
you do?
Yeah.
Well,
Was
share.
there someone at the grassy knoll?
Okay.
All right, I'm sorry.
Well, that isn't a puzzle.
I think it's a big. All right, I'll stop.
Okay. Let's see if we can come up with the puzzle.
All right.
I have one. I have one. And I have shamelessly ripping it off from another NPR show.
Oh, let's go.
Okay, let's do it. So there is this guy, then he is mowing the same patch of grass for 15 years, and he notices that it is taking him more and more gas per week to mow the same patch of grass.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Why?
Well, that's the puzzle. That's
Okay,
the
okay,
puzzle.
no, yeah,
So
yeah.
why is he needing more and more gas to mow the same patch of grass with the same lawnmower?
And we're gonna find out next week.
Well, no, I want you to
Oh, you
find.
want to answer right
No,
now?
I'm not going to tell you right now. What I would like to do is to write the answer on the back of a $100 bill
Okay.
and mail it to
Got it. Yeah.
eshrink.
Yeah.
eshrink. And the winner, we will announce it next week.
Okay. So.
Okay? So don't forget to write your answer on the back of a $100 bill and mail it in. And we will announce the winner.
Cool.
You are listening to eshrink, Interpersonal Psychiatry from Lawrence, Kansas. Thank you for joining us.